Hey everybody, let's cover the primary results from yesterday, June 23rd, 2026. We've got three states plus a runoff to get through, but the quick takeaway here is in New York, the more progressive candidates had success in the U.S. House. Those are the Mamdani and the Bernie Sanders backed candidates. The establishment didn't have a great night. Before we get to those, a quick note about the governor's race. This ended up being uncontested between Kathy Hochul and Bruce Blakeman. There was a time where Hochul did have a challenge to her left from her own lieutenant governor. I guess that kind of fizzled out. And Bruce Blakeman, the Nassau County executive, there was a time where this was Elise Stefanik's race. Then she got out. Hochul absolutely the clear favorite here. Republicans probably hoping to keep Hochul within single digits. Now let's get into the House races. Here's the seventh. Most of these are deep blue, including this one. This is an open seat. The more left candidate here, Claire Valdez, won with about 56% of the vote. Most of these are in New York City. Republicans not a factor here. In the 10th, this was a big one, and it was kind of an expected result. Incumbent Democrat Dan Goldman, he only got 34% of the vote. Brad Lander, the challenger to his left, got almost two-thirds. You might remember Lander ran for New York City mayor. In this environment, Goldman a little bit too moderate, a little bit too friendly with Israel, and he's going home after just a couple of terms in Congress. In the 12th, this is also an open seat. This is the Jerry Nadler district. The winner here, Michael Lasher, only about 39% of the vote. Alex Boris at 35, and we've got Kennedy here, Jack Kennedy Schlossberg at about 11. So a lot of candidates in this one. So another pretty easy hold here for the Dems. Then we've got the 13th. This is another big one. We've got incumbent Democrat Adriano Espaillat. He pulled in 46%, but that's not enough. Avila Xavier is over 49%. That's enough for another incumbent defeat. A bit of an upset here. It looked like Espaillat might have pulled it out, but the more progressive shake-up candidate is going to be the winner. Now, if you go down here, they do break down some of these by demographics, and it's similar across most of the ones we've taken a look at. But the lower income areas, they voted for the establishment candidate. The higher income voted for the progressive. And notice in this one, majority Black and majority Hispanic also voted for the incumbent establishment candidate. But even with that majority support, that wasn't enough. The progressive is the winner. So some interesting demographic breakdown here. Either way, in November, this is a deep blue district. But here we've got a toss-up district. This is the 17th. This is just outside of New York City. And it's held by an incumbent Republican, Mike Lawler. He won his race last time by more than a few points. But in this environment, he's going to face a challenge. And the winner here is Kate Conley, the Democrat, almost 50% of the vote. So this is a purple to tilt red district. And there's Mike Lawler. He's waiting in November. He could absolutely be defeated. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, there's one red district here. This is an open seat. It's the 21st. This is to replace Elise Stefanik, who's retiring. She won by almost 25 points last time. The winner is the Trump-backed Anthony Constantino. His margin of victory is about 19%. He's at about 59. So this district is way upstate. It's unlikely to actually get competitive, but you never know in this kind of crazy environment. In November, the Democrat waiting is Blake Gendabine, and he's at about 65% in his victory. So those are the U.S. House races. There's a little bit more here. We've got the comptroller. I'm not going over all this. Feel free to pause it if you'd like. We've got the state legislature, then the uncontested attorney general's race. Of course, if you're from the state, you're going to want to see if any local incumbents might have been defeated. If you look closely, you'll see a few of them went down, but a lot of these are uncontested. After that, let's move on to the next state. We've got Maryland. Here's the race for governor. Clearly, still some vote outstanding. It's going to be a rematch here. We've got incumbent Wes Moore. Of course, he's the Democrat, and Dan Cox, he's the Republican. He's Trump-backed. He lost to Moore 4 years ago by a massive margin. I can't imagine why it's going to be much different this time, but to be fair, pretty much no Republican would be able to defeat Moore. After that, we've got some U.S. House races. Let's take a closer look at the 5th. This is an open seat to replace Steny Hoyer. The winner is Adrian Boafo with 32% of the vote. This is a very crowded primary. We've got 5 candidates in double digits. So not a convincing margin, but without any runoffs, that's going to be enough. In November, it's going to be a very, very blue district, but the winner here is perennial candidate Chris Chafee for the Republicans. Then let's move on to the 6th. Here's another interesting primary. We've got incumbent Democrat April McLean Delaney. She faced a challenge from former U.S. Rep David Trone, who ran for the U.S. Senate and lost a couple of years ago. It was close, but Delaney, with 44% of the vote, defeats Trone with 37. Now, this is a blue-leaning district, but it's not extremely blue. Republicans hope to have a chance, but in this kind of environment, it's pretty much going to be out of reach. Either way, the Republican here is going to be also perennial candidate Robin Ficker. About 43% of the vote is enough for him to win nomination. Here's the rest of the U.S. House races, and now we've got the state legislature. One of the races of note was State Senate President Bill Ferguson. Here he is in the 46th district here. He was able to hold on with 57% of the vote. This is not Alabama, so there's not a lot to take a look at here on the other side. Here's the rest of the races, and we're going to move on to Utah. The map was redrawn here. Now the first district has become really, really blue, so Dems are going to have a pickup here. The winner here is former U.S. Rep. Ben McAdams. He got 56%. He's much more moderate, and considering the state, not a bad fit here. So he's almost certain to head back to Congress. As for the other three districts, not a whole lot to take a look at here. The other three, they're going to be deep red in November. Two of them did have primary challenges in the second district and the third. The incumbent Republicans held on with 58 and 67% respectively. So a little bit competitive, but nothing too exciting. You might remember here in the third, Phil Lyman. He challenged the incumbent governor a couple of years ago. Then after that, we've got the state legislature. A few incumbents have gone down here, so that's something to take a look at if you're interested in the local party dynamics. After that, a few Board of Education races way down here at the very bottom. Then we're going to move on to the final state. Here's South Carolina, and these are just runoffs. This is a pretty big race, but it turned out to be anticlimactic. This is for governor. And on the Republican side, Trump had endorsed Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evitt. That was just before the first round a couple of weeks ago. Then he co-endorsed Attorney General Alan Wilson, but it already looked like Wilson was surging in the polling. In the end, Wilson cruised here with 68.6%. Evitt did carry a few counties here. So for whatever reason, the Trump endorsement just for Evitt didn't really do anything. The Dems already have their nominee in November. Republicans are going to be clearly favored here, but we'll see what happens. In the first district to replace Republican Nancy Mace, the winner is Jenny Costa Honeycutt. She was backed by Trump. She got 53.7%. Last time Nancy Mace won by double digits, but she's going to face in November Nancy LaCour, the Democrat, who won her own runoff with 52%. So this will be a race to watch to see if it's actually going to be a really, really big blue wave. In the second district for the Dems, the winner is Zion Khalifa. He won the runoff. He's going to face incumbent Republican Joe Wilson in November. Wilson also won by a comfortable margin last time, but if it's a blue tsunami, then all bets are off. Finally, we've got the runoff here for the Attorney General for the Republicans, David Stumbo with over 55%, then a few state house races, and Agriculture Commissioner. So that wraps up what we've got for June 23rd. A couple of semi-upsets in there, but no big bombshells. So next up, we've got a Colorado primary and the Louisiana runoff. Then it kind of cools off for a while with the primaries. But that's it for this one. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these results? What about the more progressive candidates taking out some incumbents? What about any of the races in any of these states? Could there be any surprises in November? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.